Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. These are the post-fight reviews for the Filip Hrgovic and Eric Molina fight, as well as the Magomedrasul and Tom Little fights in Saudi Arabia, of course on the Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz Jr. undercard. So we'll start with Filip Hrgovic, who got a third round knockout over Eric Molina. And this maybe proved a slightly better test than I was anticipating, because not so much in the first round, but the second round, Molina gave Hrgovic a few things to think about, and we'll come to that, but we'll start with the stoppage first. Hrgovic landing a right hand, a chopping right hand, sort of landed towards the back of Molina's head, but Molina kept dipping down, putting his head in a bad position right throughout the fight, and the referee had warned him of this right before that punch had landed, sort of in the 20 seconds or so before that right hand. He cannot beat the count. He gets up pretty much at the count of 10, but he doesn't make it to his feet in time. So Hrgovic gets the third round stoppage. But it was quite an interesting fight for a number of reasons. The first round, there was a number of nice sort of body shots from Filip Hrgovic, a somewhat low volume round as Eric Molina really was on his bike trying to just circle off and just get a look at Filip Hrgovic, who was tracking him down, trying to land right hands, and he did so a couple of times in that first round. And Molina, he landed the odd right, but it was very few and far between in terms of the punches thrown by Eric Molina. Very wary of Filip Hrgovic and obviously the power that he did possess. Right towards the end of that round, there was a vicious left hook to the body. Molina sort of slumps to the ropes, it holds him up, and it really could have been ruled a knockdown at that point. Molina goes down after a few more shots, but it is not ruled a knockdown. The referee, Ian Lewison, allows him to get up, get out of the round. Nothing there in terms of a knockdown, but a clear Hrgovic round. Round two was quite interesting because it started off pretty much as the first round did, with Hrgovic coming forward, trying to pepper him with body shots, right hands, really looking quite menacing. But there was a point in the mid-round where Molina started to hit Hrgovic with a series of shots, mostly right hands, and Hrgovic seemed to just freeze. It was a bit odd. He just didn't seem to really react there. He just almost stayed stationary to some extent, and he took a number of shots. And I didn't know if he was hurt or not, but Molina's corner certainly thought he was, yelling, "He's hurt, he's hurt, he's hurt." But after about 15 seconds or so of this, he sort of shakes it off. Molina can't make the most of the opportunity. And towards the end of the round, Hrgovic lands a right hand near the bell. He follows up with a vicious body shot, and that drops Molina. Molina beats the count and spits out the mouthguard to buy time. And he gets out of the round just. And then obviously I just covered the stoppage at the start of the video. So a highlight of the performance from Filip Hrgovic was the body work. This was an opponent in Eric Molina who looked, in my view, in some of the best condition in recent memory for him. He had a full 8 weeks to prepare for Filip Hrgovic, which the commentary team noted was a much longer time than he ever had for his 2 world title shots against Wilder and Joshua. Overall, the performance from Filip Hrgovic, it was decent. Good work in terms of the body work. He was obviously trying to come in with that right hand and really damage Molina, who kept dipping down, and some of those were leading to shots to the back of the head. But the referee did warn Molina, as I mentioned, so Hrgovic just kept punching down, and Molina just kept trying to duck and was dipping into it. But I'm sure there will be a few people saying that Hrgovic needs to stop the illegal punches, but I guess the issue is, what could he really do if the opponent is basically bending down to his waist and his head just ends up where it does? But I did think that there were a few things that Hrgovic just looked a little bit, I don't want to say shaking on, but there are some things that he could probably improve on. Wasn't a lot of head movement in there. And obviously when Molina did have some success in that second round, he didn't really seem to, respond as I think a lot of people may have thought he would. He just seemed to freeze a bit, but obviously he got through that adversity and he got the stoppage in the third round. And I said it wouldn't make round 4, that I expect this one to end inside 3 rounds, and ultimately it did. But in terms of the other fight, which was the first heavyweight fight on the card, that was Magomedrasul Majidov versus Tom Little. And Majidov, second pro fight, his first one he was actually dropped in. So I think coming into this one, a few questions about how he would look. This is the former amateur world champion. I believe he won that crown 3 times. He came out well, working the jab, landing some nice body shots, backing Tom Little up, and really had no issues with what was coming back at him from Tom Little. But it was a right hand in the second round to the top of Little's head that buckled Little's legs, and he went down really quite heavily. His legs just went. He gets up, he beats the count barely, and for the next minute or so, he really does quite well to survive. He goes down swinging, but Majidov is picking him apart, and with 1 minute and 50 seconds remaining, or thereabouts, the referee steps in and waves it off as Tom Little sort of rolls off the ropes, sort of steps backwards, but looks like he's in a bit of trouble as he does so. He's not very steady on those feet. And I think it was a good stoppage, the referee jumping in at that point. You could have made an argument that there could have been an earlier point where it could have been waved off, but Little given every opportunity. And overall, a very good showcase performance from Magomedrasul Majidov. So he gets that second round TKO. Filip Hrgovic gets the KO in round 3 against Eric Molina. And for Hrgovic, that was the best win on his resume, arguably so far. A guy that had fought for 2 world titles, had come up short, obviously, at the tail end of his career, but in a way it was also, like Majidov, another sort of showcase performance. Always expected to win, and expected to win well, and overall he did the job here. It was a decent performance overall. What did you make of it? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.